Today, we are having our second seminar in our series, and I am delighted to welcome Professor Al-Amin, who is going to talk to us on the issue of climate change and related issues. I'll give you a little bit of background about Dr. Al-Amin because I think his career illustrates just the sort of thing I would encourage people to do. So he is originally from Bangladesh. However, he undertook his PhD in environmental forestry from the University of Bangor in North Wales. At that stage, I guess it would have been the University of Wales at Bangor. It has since changed its name. He then went on and did something that I really would encourage young scientists to do. He moved. So he went and did his postdoctoral population studies in the University of Göttingen in northern Germany, and where he studied population genetics and isozyme studies. Not only did he do that, but he then was very clever and moved to a postdoctoral research position in collaboration with the University of Florida in the USA. And that sort of broad background, I think, is absolutely critical for many scientists. We have too many young scientists who just do their entire PhD, undergraduate degrees, postdoc in one place. And so they get no experience of the rest of the world. And I would really encourage any of you who are PhD students or postdocs to take the opportunity to travel and move around and actually learn about techniques from the experts in the field around the world. So moving on, Professor Al-Amin has 29 years of experience in teaching and research on forest and environmental policy. He's also worked in climate change, forest management, remote sensing, GIS applications, so a broad career. He's worked in both Chittagong University and in the Bangladesh Forest Research Institute. So he's actually got a really broad background in research, which enables him to talk with considerable authority in his field. He has written 6 books, published more than 60 scientific articles in national and international peer-reviewed journals, and amazingly, he has contributed his knowledge as supervisor to 150 PhD, master's, and undergraduate theses. I know how time-consuming it is to do that, so I am blown away by the number, 150. He earned the Best Research Award from IUFRO at a conference on climate change and forest adaptation at Umeå in Sweden. And again, that illustrates something that I think is really important. You should be associating with IUFRO. It is an incredible organization that is absolutely fantastic for networking. If you haven't registered for the conference this year in Stockholm, I would urge you to do so, although I think the places are beginning to run out. So hopefully you will be able to go and we'll be able to see you there. I know many of you on this call have actually registered for that, and so I look forward to meeting you. So having said that, I am going to hand over to Dr. Al-Amin, and I look forward to your presentation, Dr. Al-Amin.
Thank you very much, John. I'm really delighted you are being here with me of using this one. Actually, my title of the presentation, I'm telling one of the success story about the climate resilient reforestation program to manage endangered tree species and conserve the watershed of river Halda in Bangladesh. It's a river which is very important for us. However, first, actually, I am telling about the my acknowledgements. Yeah, Suji, please change that slide. And Suji, yeah, and actually, my heartfelt gratitude to the organizer, particularly my friend, Dr. Guangyi Wang, of the AP-FECM webinar series for my invitation, and particularly Professor Dr. John Enas for his kind presence as chair in this webinar, and also important the participants, those who are actually giving time in this webinar, and Dr. Suji Zheng, she is taking much load for continuous monitoring of this webinar, and also the students of my climate change and GIS lab of IFESCO, particularly Ms. Umme Hani, Chinmoy, and Jyotimoy for active participation in this piece of research. Please, next, please. And then I am telling about those who don't know about Bangladesh. Actually, Bangladesh is located at, in a area which is actually bordered on the west, north, and east by India, and on the southeast by Myanmar, and on the south by Bay of Bengal. Yeah, it's a total area is 148,460 square kilometer. Very, not very big, but in comparison to Canada, it is very tiny country, but highly dense people. Population density is the highest in the world, 1,181 person per square kilometer. You see here, I am showing with the color. These are the actually areas which is with our forest, and the specifically area I showed the where I'm residing, the Chittagong, and our study area also over here, particularly in the watershed area of River Halda, and the other colored areas are the uh, forest area of Bangladesh. And we have 2.6 million hectares of forest land, uh, and where 17.4% of the tree cover of the country. So we are still lagging behind in our tree cover for whole of the country, and we are intent to do with the government taking the policy for 25% tree cover over here. And next, please. Next slide, please, Suji. That's another one. We are actually seeing the Halda River, which I'm telling about. Why it is important, I'm telling that this is actually a river originated from Bangladesh and located in Chittagong, and it is actually located in the Ramgarh area, originated from the Ramgarh Upazila of the Khagrachari district, and actually this is very important because this is the only tidal river where the natural crab breeding ground in the world, from where crab eggs are collected by the local fishermen. And number of excavated oxbows bands over there 11, and number of canals 34, and there are uh, Swiss gates 12, and number of fish species actually earlier it was 75, now 71 are available, 4 are not available, and the livelihood of 1,100 fishermen depends on this river, particularly collecting the eggs from the river. This is only one there. And then actually I am telling about the organizing, the how actually organizing the presentation. not this one. Yeah, organizing. Actually, in this presentation, I'm telling you about first my research questions and goals of this research, and then I will discuss about the past to present tree cover analysis using satellite images, and then I'll tell about the field experimentation, about the future scenarios of tree cover using natural recruitments. That means natural regenerations coming on the watershed area, particularly of the river, that one, and in the which is now afforested area, and then and the restoration of the degraded and deforested area with the indigenous and endangered forestry species, and how last one we are trying to see how the national policy actually provide ample opportunity to do this type of afforestation restoration program when we are going further behind the way earlier we are thinking about the forest management and policymaker how they react with this type of research and work particularly. Please, next. And then actually I'm telling about the research questions and goals. Uh, Forest management, actually earlier we are thinking very much about the exact forest which we are seeing that one. And now we are actually moving forward from the forest, only forest to the landscape level, actually in which landscape this forest also located and how actually it contributes from that forest to the total landscape. We are thinking, we are setting our visions in that way. And we are also we have an approach to deal with the forest management earlier with a very colonial approach, like forest department jobs are white collar job in our country. And now actually it is converted to people's oriented forestry. Now forest officers are very much concerned with the people's orientations, and they are thinking about the how livelihood of the peoples are being carried out with the forest and forest products and services. So the ecosystem service and other things are coming down. How actually it takes over that. So these are things, and most efficiently, which is coming over here, is the technological interventions. Actually, we are now dealing with the blending data before doing any sorts of work like that. So these are the things we are considering to doing this research. Actually, we are trying to say that actually are we accommodate with these type of phenomenal changes in our deforestation programs. And to do this, so the study actually investigate the spatial and temporal analysis, actually telling the past to present how the watershed areas, forest and afforestation programs are carried out, and also assess the present status of tree vegetation composition. Because the tree vegetation composition let us know the how climate change is working and affecting the vegetation compositions. And also here we are seeing the forest floor natural recruitments. So these forest floor natural recruitments will say about the future forest. So how actually a forest tree species adapt with the climate change and also moving from its original position to other part of the forest or the hill or the downhill to uphill like that, because changing climate, the temperature change, usually provide the ample opportunity for the tree to grow nicely or badly. And also evaluating the reforestation of watershed areas with endangered and indigenous species, because due to different factors, we are losing our indigenous species, which are became very much endangered as well. So in our area, when we are going to plant reforested area, we are thinking that we are going to use all the endangered species, those who are available now, to put over there and trying to see whether they can survive here nicely. And it will act one day for the germplasm center as well the repository for the future endangered and indigenous species. And we also, the way we did this thing, we communicate to the national policymakers and compete with the other afforestation programs carried out in Bangladesh, and we got a very good result of that. So the studies, well, next slide, please. Then, so the studies we are carried out here is that spatial and temporal trend analysis of land uses and its changes using Landsat imageries. This is the actually first study with which provide a picture of the past to present forest entities and the conditions, particularly afforestation efforts with deforestation problems. Here, forest is an unlocked property in our country, where the land is a land-hungry country. A small piece of land is very valuable over here. So people wants to, those who are actually, and the poverty level is very high, and which actually triggered to make deforestation or encroachment inside the forest. So these type of things lead us to think how nicely we can go for the afforestation program. And the second study, particularly, that is actually mostly we are thinking about the natural recruitments or regeneration study for getting the future forest and how diversity it will be using the field experimentations, and see actually whether the tree species are moving from downhill to up, or some are losing their major entity area, to see that type of things and give a prediction to the others that how nicely it is actually working. And then we'll evaluating the third study actually let us know about the evaluating the reforestation programs by FESCO, Institute of Forestry and Environmental Science, Chittagong University, indigenous trees species like that. So whenever we are going for that, I'm just showing in a slide, you are seeing the red mark area actually telling you the total watershed area, and the blue color, this is the river where Halda is moving, and it actually comes from Kagraturi, and then it meets with the Kornofuli River and then go to the sea. Yeah, and then please go next. It's the factor layer, and I'll show the next slide with the raster layer. Yeah, please next slide. Next slide, please. So you are seeing over that the dense vegetations is the last one, the green one actually, and the water is the things. This is vegetation index from 90, the river basin actually, I'm telling you, and how it will be changed will come with the next slide, please. So in the next slide, we are seeing that from 90, 90, 2000, 2010, 2020, and 2023, 5 different Landsat images actually let us know how the changes are over there. And though here it is very difficult to predict the small changes, but I'll show in the next slide with the area demarcated with different land uses. Yeah, please. You'll see here with the graph and table. Yeah, please, Suji. Next slide. Yeah, this is the graph and table illustrates the land use changes of watershed Halda River from 1990s to date, actually up to 2023. Here you see in the 1990s, the water body is 21,227 hectares of land, but in 2023, it's reduced to 8,458. This is dangerous for us because the river is shrinking and the land is used in other purposes, and the dense vegetation is being increased due to the afforestation program carried out over there, but the shrubs and grasslands are increased as well because some areas have been actually changed. Yeah, if we come to the next slide, yeah, this one, the change is how actually it's coming. You see, the deforestation is increased from 1990 to 2000 and 2000 to 2010. But when in 2010 to 2020, government effort is very high for the afforestation programs, and that actually give an enormous change of the area. Though in total, still afforestation and deforestation differences are higher. If we go to the next slide, we'll see the changes. Please, Suji. In the next slide, the afforestation programs, you will see that provide 1990 to 9,952 hectares of land afforestation, but deforestation just doubled the 20,000. But from 90, if you find the 2010, the afforestation program is 29,000. 2010 to 2020, it's a massive afforestation program carried out, and deforestation programs also reduced due to the government serious effort. However, in total, actually, still we are lagging behind, and the deforestation done much more earlier, and in comparison to the afforestation programs. However, the biological diversity of that area, we found that still the trees diversities are very good. If we use the Shannon-Wiener index, where 3.08, where scale is actually 0 to 4.6, lower value indicates the higher diversity. So still it is, the diversity is nice. And the Simpsons diversity scale also telling a very good diversity, higher value indicates higher diversity. So species evenness also very good. The species higher value indicates higher evenness as well. So still it's good, but if we see the relative density, relative frequency, relative abundance, and important IVI, actually this relative dominance, relative frequency, and relative abundance in total, the IVI by important value index is being made, and um, the main 11 species we found that these are very much over that area. Yeah, please. Uh, please Sujit, change the yeah, this one. I'm telling about this 11 species, and these are the actually many species now found over their area, uh, particularly ficus, vitex. These are the many species actually. These are many of them are actually very much our species, native species. Please change that. If you please change that, and then in the next slide, actually we are showing you the with the height, uh, elevation, and the uh, plant presence over there, the diversity. If you see this one, you will find that the hill, it actually shows the hill from the one top to other, like this, the hill over the area, particularly on the screen. If you go from the left to right, you will find a hill shape where the uh, left side is the one aspect and right side is the other aspect. So we'll find that actually many diversity of the tree species will find much more in the uh, right side of the hill, which is actually the part of our university Chittagong area, and that is actually provide and the elevation is from 41 21 to uh, 80 meters. This is actually, but in the left side it is not much diversity due to changing the climate and the more disturbed area for deforestation as well. And this part actually taking care of and the afforestation and reforestation programs are very good in that part, and which actually provide the natural recruitment as well, because it will provide ample scope to to provide shelter for the newly recruited species. And a different and diversity index actually shows the same type of phenomena uh, for the species richness or evenness and also dominance as well. Yes, second. Yeah, change please. So that in the next slide, you'll see the how natural recruitments also over there. If you see the last one, the left side, this is the coastal part, uh, and the right side of the uh, graph. If you can change, Suji. Yeah, this is when you find this one that natural recruitments actually occur uh, very much from 41 meter to the 80 meter. These are the highest level natural recruitments and which actually also provide much diversity as well. And this is actually happen because the changing climate, we knew if 1 to 1.5 degrees centigrade temperature increased uh, with the earlier one, please. If the temperature increased 1 degree to 1.5 degrees centigrade, the species will move for his suitable position from the foothill to the upper up to 55 meter, or it will move towards the cooler side of the country, uh, maybe 80 kilometer up to. And this is actually the last slide, please. This is the slide with natural regeneration density. Last one. Oh no, you are going ahead. Okay, now we are. You see the tree height with changing altitudes also. We see that one, and the last uh, phase of my study, the deforestation phase with endangered indigenous tree species. The experiment setup, it was in because we are also in the watershed area of the Halda. So we took different species, afforestation program, not likely earlier we may do with 1 or 2 species, but this time we are using 44 species. All are endangered and indigenous tree species is for reforestation program. So the name and the list of that one is a huge one, and all are very uh, indigenous species. Next slide, please. Dr. Sujin, next slide. These are the endangered and indigenous tree species we put over here for regeneration, reforestation program. Earlier, actually, we may do acres of lands with a single or 2 or 3 species, but this time we put different way with an experiment nature, some block plantations of the species which are actually endangered species declared and indigenous as well. So that actually provide uh, ample scope to see actually how nicely it can grow. And next slide, please. In the next slide, actually these plantations have been done in 2020, 21, and 2021, and we found the mortality rate is high, some on only 3 species doesn't very nicely survived. Otherwise, mortality, and in the second graph, you will see the with the elevation, the mortality rate, there is a relation with the mortality rate. However, those who survived nicely and the mortality rate actually high up to 45% and to 60% for some of the species, but major are actually because they are very much uh, in problem to grow as well. And because of different problems like climate change, there are suitable climate and the defect factors and the elevations, different things are coming. We actually found these things, and later we took the measures to restrict the mortality as well. And then please. However, please, the next slide. If we see the growth, next slide, please. Yeah, growth things for height in 2022 and 2023 is still they are growing nicely. Those who survived, and many of them are survived. Actually, all the species survived, but the way we expected, not that way. And the growth pattern is also very good because it's increasing the height in meter. Actually, the lowest one, who is actually struggling with 1.03, that is also uh, within an year, it is became another 1 meter height. So it is still promising for us to see how nicely it is actually growing out. So our experiment, it shapes a very good notion that the species, if they survived the way it is now carried out, uh, it will be a very good repository for the endangered indigenous species. Yeah, next slide. The DBH is another parameter. Next slide, please. And the DBH, the diameter at breast height also found better. The lowest is the 1.58 in the last year, 2022, and in 2023 it's 3.03. So still in centimeter is promising to grow, and this is the high time to grow straightway, and the diameter will come better when the height growth is being stopped, and some thinning will done, and then the diameter growth will come forward. We are actually very much concerned that how nicely it can survive over this area. So next slide, please. So in conclusion, actually, our reforestation programs on hilly part of the watershed area with, next slide, please. I'm just going to conclude this session using some notes that reforestation programs on hilly part of this watershed area with indigenous and 44 endangered species were restricted runoff during monsoon and later it is act as a germplasm repository of endangered species for the nation and provide positive impact on management of watershed of River Halda. And recently, in the March 22, 2023, actually this reforestation program earned the best national award of tree planting in Bangladesh, which resembles, it meets the desired of the policymakers and a recognition of the success as well. Actually, there is a trophy. It is a nationwide competition. This program of FESCO earned this trophy, the best uh, plantation program in Bangladesh, and that was declared on March 22, 2023. This is the Forest Day, and the award is given on 5th of May on 2023. So this approach of reforestation program, if we just use with the carbon management, we are going to actually calculate the carbon, how much carbon it can produce using this endangered indigenous species as well, will maybe provide an instrument to combat the climate change and rebuild a healthy forest, because forest will go to its original entity, the way it's actually earlier over there, and also manage the sustainable watershed where the rivers under threat and may apply to any part of the world as it has a generic nature. Yeah, this is the important thing. Actually, I'm sharing this success story, because I know as I visit different parts of the world, I found these sorts of things actually happen to different countries where the river, forest are conjugal together, and how nicely we can use our indigenous resources as well, the conserve the watershed area, and uh, actually restrain our ecosystem services as well. Yeah, next slide, please. Next slide, please. So in the next slide, actually, I'm showing this is the trophy is given by the Prime Minister of our country, and with some money as well, 100,000 taka. Yeah, this is given to our Institute of Forestry and Environmental Science, University of Chittagong. Thanks a lot for your kind attention. I'm really great that all of you are over here, and many thanks, Dr. John. Please.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Dr. Al-Amin, for a fascinating presentation, and many congratulations for that award that you showed at the end. It sounds like it is very well deserved. We do have some time for some questions. I have lots, so if no one else has them, I'm going to hog the platform, but I do want to give others the opportunity. But if I could just start, one of the things, it's not really completely related to your presentation, but we have had reports that deforestation in Bangladesh has increased substantially in recent years, associated with the influx of refugees from Myanmar. Is that the case? And do you have any comments about that?
Yeah, that is one of the actually saddest thing for our forestry sector, because it's okay, it's a humanitarian ground, they came over here, but they first attack our forest, and the total forest area is devastated, and 1 million people just come with a single area of our forest, particularly the forest where I am also part of that, the Chittagong and Cox's Bazar. Actually, they are residing on the Cox's Bazar. And that is this influx actually provide huge destruction of our hill forest and dipterocarp forest especially. That is really dangerous. And that is a huge loss in our country. I don't know how many years it will take to come back.
Thank you.
It's a huge dip. Yeah, you are right.
Well, it is a very distressing situation. Can I ask if anyone would like to ask Dr. Al-Amin some probably more pertinent questions than I just did?
Yeah, John. Yeah, Yes, thank you very much for this very good opportunity to share this information. I'm Yong Peng from the Chinese Academy of Forestry in Beijing. Yes, thank you. I'm Professor Amin. It's a very interesting topic for this, using this like a reforestation programs to improve the climate resilience. So currently, we also are doing a joint project with European Union should also try to relate to these forest resilience topics. So I just wonder, would you please to explain more about the reforestation activities performed in your watershed? And I also wonder, you list there are many local species. Wondering, how do you mix them? You mix them as stuff by stem or page or something else, kinds of complicated sort of plant health. Yeah.
Yeah, I also visit the Chinese afforestation program earlier. We are actually doing some block plantation because we are this reforestation program has another important value to use as a repository of the germplasm center. Because we want to, these are going to extinct, these species, endangered very much. So we put the block plantation in an area like 1 acre area with all the same species, and then beside another one. We are trying to actually use another thing, the changing climate phenomena over here, that those species actually looking going to be endangered due to the changing climate. We are putting them little higher altitude because the cooler region over there, like that, this type of thing, because here 1 degree, 0.5 degree centigrade is our climate is resilience with that one, but trees are not adapted much. For that reason, we are putting the block plantation, 1 block by another block,
Okay.
another.
So for each plot, that's just a mono species, right?
Yeah, mono species, yes, mono
Okay.
species,
Yeah.
and then the total is the mixed one.
Yeah. Okay. So it's like a patch by patch mix. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I have one more question about, what is the area? What is the size of your project? And how do you measure this index that you mentioned for the DBH and H? Also, you select some plots or you make from?
Yeah. Actually, we are using 44 species in 1 block. This is not much bigger one, but the small one, but with experiments. We are putting the same thing. This is not much more, the 15 acre of land, but it will give us a notion whether we can go forward for the massive scale or not, like that. So this was the primary one, but we found that some mortality of some of the species due to the not good positioning system, good plantation in the appropriate place. So we put it other way in the second experiment, and then if it is all right, then we are going for a massive plantation.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
if it is nice.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, Yong Pang, for joining us. I know this is the holiday season in China, so you're probably sacrificing some time with your family.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
okay.
we have a question from Damrong Pipat Watanako, and he has asked if you could move to the 6th slide. I don't know if Susie, you can share the screen again and move to there. Okay.
Hi there.
Damrong.
Yes, thank you. Very good presentation. Thanks to Professor Al-Amin. My questions, there are 2 questions. The first one is this would be benefit to a student who are starting to make a research on forest landscape ecology. So my first question is about how do you make the boundary of your study site, which is considered as a forest landscape in this context? And the second question, this study is pretty much oriented on the forest ecology. And do you foresee any social science? Is there any social problem that might occur? How do you foresee this? Because in this area, it is difficult to
Yeah,
make the separate human dimension from the forest landscape. Thank you very much.
yeah. Thank you very much, Damrong. It's nice to see you over here. Okay. Yeah. Well, one of the important thing you are actually telling about the social aspect of the thing, do I consider or not? Mainly, I understood. Uh, yeah, the social aspect, we are actually looking for to conserve the watershed of the Halda River, which is actually where the livelihood of the people of 1,100 fishermen, their livelihood actually depend on that river only, because this is the river where we didn't catch the fish. We only take the eggs of the fish, and then it was been transferred to the hatchery, and we are making the spawn. So the total livelihood depends on that. If this watershed area being deforested, the way it is being carried out, that is the water body is going to be shinked. And from the image, you find that how much it is shrinked. It is shrink from 21,227 hectare to 8,458 hectare. So this is the thing. If we can conserve this area, automatically the water body will increase, and that will actually help that local people. However, uh, if our study nicely uh, conducted and sufficiently data sources we can provide, and then and the massive afforestation program we can take over this area, then we'll go for the ecosystem services study and the social human dimension study, the how much actually the people are going to be benefited, and we can give you the qualitative and quantitative data over there. So this is the situation. Thank you. Damarang, I think I answered your question.
Okay, thank you. We do have a question in the chat, and it is from Laila Abida Akhtar, who has asked, could you tell me the exact number of endangered species in Bangladesh? Could we use ANR to encourage regeneration capacity of that area?
Actually, this is always changing, the endangered species in Bangladesh in number. It is better to consult with the IUCN website. Then you will get the red list data book, and then you can say that exact number of the endangered species now prevailing in this area. But however, we are here actually tried for 57 to, 44 plant tree species to see how nicely they can grow over here. So other species we'll try later in our other experiments. Thank you, Dr. Laila.
Thank you. We have another question in the chat. Did you cover, and this is from Rabiul Alam, did you cover the whole riverside, which is almost 40 kilometers, for your reforestation program?
No. We didn't. This is straightway an experiment. If we succeed, then we can ask the forest department to do this same thing. And as the government recognized this reforestation system and the program with the award, I found that the forest department is also very much aware, and now they are doing a massive afforestation program over there. You see, 2010 to 2020, near about 29,000 hectares of land being afforested, which is very good in sense of Bangladesh for afforestation and reforestation program. Thank you.
Thank you. And another question in the chat is from Motiar Rahman. Could you have any program about the riparian vegetation of the Halda River?
Actually, we are still we are not have that type of program, but this is the first experiment where we are thinking about the landscape level approach, and we found that this is very helpful. And next forest management will maybe go for that type of arrangements, because not only merely with the forest management of the exact forest, but how it actually contributes to the total landscape. We are going for that one, and then the riparian level of afforestation program will come, and that is the thing for future.
Okay, thank you. That's all the questions in the chat. Are there any questions from the audience who want to verbalize their questions? We have time for one more question, since we started a bit late, thanks to me having difficulties logging in. I don't see anyone. So thank you very much, Dr. Al-Amin, for your contribution to this seminar series. I think it was an excellent presentation. I really enjoyed it. And I see there are clapping hands on the screen. So other people obviously enjoyed it as well. We look forward to interacting with you in the future, in face-to-face in our meetings. And I would just like to thank you for being one of the first to step up to offer a seminar in this series and to describe the work that you're doing. I think it is very important that we all do that, because it creates a little bit of substance to the characters that we have on the Education Committee. So thank you for your effort, and thank you for joining us tonight. I would also like to thank all of you who are attending this. Thank you for taking the time out of your very busy lives to actually listen to this presentation. I hope that you have learned something, and I hope that you will join us for our next seminar in, I'm not sure how long it is. Is it, Susie, is it 1 month or is it 2 weeks?
Yeah.
1 month.
Yes. So next one will be hosted by Dr. Amin. So it's we do this seminar like on rotated order. So next one, yeah, will be in March. Yeah.
I'll start from tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
This brings us to a close. Thank you, everyone, for attending tonight, or this morning, or whatever time it happens to be with you. And I look forward to seeing you all again in a month's time.
Yeah,
Thank you.
very much.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.